أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي كان موجودا قبل حدوث الأشياء ويبقى بعد فناء الأشياء. تفرد بالأولية والقدم ووسم كل شيء ما عداه بالفناء والعدم. كما قال عز شأنه: كل شيء هالك إلا وجهه وكل نفس ذائقة الموت. وقال: كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام. سبحان من لا يخفى عليه اختلاف النيات ولا يعذب عنه معاصي العباد في الخلوات. سبحان الله الذي منه خلقة العباد وإليه المعاد. فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يراه ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يراه. نشهد أن لا إله إلا هو الملك الذي لا ينازع في ملكه ولا يضاد في حكمه. يعذب من يشاء بما يشاء كيف يشاء ويرحم من يشاء بما يشاء كيف يشاء. تعذيبه المسيئين عدل وعفوه تفضل. ونشهد أن محمدا سيد المرسلين والمنذرين صلى الله عليه وآله الهداة المهديين. من ركب سفينتهم نجا واهتدى ومن تخلف عنها ضل فغرق وهوى. أوصيكم عباد الله بالاعتصام بالتقوى فإنه حبل متين وعروة وثقى. أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله ونظم أمركم. I advise you all and myself to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to organize our affairs. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. قال أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب عليه الصلاة والسلام: فهم والجنة كمن قد رآه فهم فيها منعمون وهم والنار كمن قد رآه فهم فيها معذبون. To them paradise is as if they are looking at it and they are enjoying its favors, and to them hell is as if they are looking at it and suffering the punishment in it. This is a phrase from Khutbatul Muttaqeen that we are continuously trying to understand, that what are the qualities of Muttaqeen and how to become a God-fearing person. And Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wasalam in this sermon very clearly defines us the steps to gain this perfection and to gain this piety and to become a God-fearing person. Now we have been discussing these qualities from last 12 weeks, and we also discussed, because there was a gap last week, a week before that we discussed what were the types of yaqeen and what were the effects of yaqeen in our lives. Now yaqeen had three types. First was the ilmul yaqeen, then we had aynul yaqeen, and then we had haqqul yaqeen. And each of these yaqeen, the levels of yaqeen, subsequently they had an effect, and one of the effects was gaining basira, something that comes out of yaqeen. And certainty is basira, insight, perception. Now what is basira? This is very important today that I want to address. Basira is something, a quality that comes into play when you have achieved a certain level of yaqeen in your lives, certain level of certainty in your lives. Now this basira tells you and informs you about the haqa'iq, about the truth behind things. Now whenever a person is having basira and have achieved the level of basira, this person now understands and has the ability to look at things and to perceive things in its original form. This is basira. This is known as basira. Sometimes we look at things apparently and we try to decide things for ourselves, how they look apparently, how they behave apparently. But there are things behind veils that we do not know. There are hijab and veils that we do not understand. Therefore, people who are God-fearing, those pious people who have the level of perfection, who have the level of certainty, these people have this vision of basira. They have this perception and they have this sharp, concrete, strong vision that by which they can understand the haqa'iq, the truth behind things. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in chapter A'raf, verse number 201 says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا إِذَا مَسَّهُمْ طَائِفَةٌ مِّنَ الشَّيْطَانِ تَذَكَّرُوا. People of faith, sometimes satanic and evil thoughts, they disturb them. Sometimes there are thoughts that strike our minds which are evil, which are satanic. And as soon as these thoughts come into our mind, people who are God-fearing, people who have faith, that tazakkaru, these people, they remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the key to my youth here, the young ones, and everybody in fact. Whenever there is a thought that is disturbing you, that is against the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what you have to do, tadhakkaru, remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As soon as there is a thought that strikes your mind which is evil, which is satanic, you have to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا إِذَا مَسَّهُمْ طَائِفٌ مِّنَ الشَّيْطَانِ. If something strikes them, something evil that strikes their mind, tadhakkaru. This is the key. This is the key to success. They remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They know that my Lord is not the Satan. My Lord is not shaitan. My Lord is not nafs. My Rabb is not nafs. This is not shaitan who is giving me sustenance. This is not shaitan who has created me. It's my Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's my Lord. Tazakkaru. Now what happens when they tazakkaru, when they think and they remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? فَإِذَا هُمْ مُبْصِرُونَ. Behold, they perceive. Behold, they understand. They have this vision of basira. They start looking things in their original form. If someone, God forbid, wants to do ghibat, yeah, as soon as a person wants to do ghibat and this thought strikes their mind, they are supposed to remember Allah. Tadhakkaru, you remember your Lord. You remember your Lord. This is Satan disturbing you, but you have to remember your Lord. As soon as you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah is going to help you. فَإِذَا هُمْ مُبْصِرُونَ. That is when they start having this vision, this basira, and they look at the very essence of ghibat. They understand what lies behind ghibat, and those veils, they go apart and they are removed from the eyes of this God-fearing person, and they understand the haqiqah and the reality, the true nature of ghibah. You might feel good while doing this backbiting and ghibah, but the truth behind is very bad. This is what this ayah says. Behold, then they perceive, then they understand, they start having this vision which is strong, which is sharp, which is known as basira, and they are looking at the truth behind that the entity, and they see things which others cannot see. These God-fearing people, they see things which others cannot see. They look at things in a different way. That is why they behave in a different way. They live a different life, and this is what Imam Ali salatu wasalam. Remember, don't forget those things we already discussed. Imam is following a very logical sequence behind this tarbiyah, this upbringing, how to attain these levels of perfection for a God-fearing person. Now this person who gets this insight and who's having this basira, which is one of the effects of certainty and yaqeen, this person, again, I would like to quote this ayah from chapter An-Nisa, verse number 10, which says, Inna alladhina, and this is how God-fearing people look things at. This is how they see the truth behind certain actions. Inna alladhina ya'kuluna amwal al-yatama dhulman. Those who consume the property of orphans wrongly, unlawfully. What is going to happen? Innama ya'kuluna fi butunihim nara. These are the people consuming fire in their bellies. This is the haqiqah. A person might enjoy usurping the rights of an orphan and might enjoy apparently taking away the property of an orphan. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, these are the people, إِنَّمَا يَأْكُلُونَ فِي بُطُونِهِمْ نَارًا. These are the people consuming fire in their bellies. This is fire. Apparently, there is no fire. A person might be eating the money or the house or the property he's being entrusted with for the orphans to look after, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this is fire. This is hellfire. You are burning yourself. وَسَيَصْلَوْنَ سَعِيرًا. And they will be suffering the blazing fire in the hell. This is the haqiqah behind. This is basira that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about. Now no sane person would put fire in his mouth. Will he want to burn himself? Will he want to burn his tongue, his mouth, his hands? No, nobody will dare to do this. Nobody will want to, ever, except for someone playing tricks. One will never put fire in his mouth. But how come a person becomes, is compelled to eat and to consume wrongfully the property of orphans? This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. You have to look deep. You have to gain that insight, that perception that you want to have about this basira that you need to gain, and this certainty that you have to have. Imam Ali says a God-fearing person has this level of certainty, whichever level he has, ilmul yaqeen, aynul yaqeen, haqqul yaqeen, and subsequently he is going to have that basira. And this basira will not allow that person to do any sin, to do anything wrong, to act wisely. This basira is going to compel this God-fearing person to act wisely. Now this ayah tells us that if a person wrongfully consumes the rights of orphans, he is as if consuming the hellfire. Now, there is a story where one day the Holy Prophet, the noble Prophet, ordered all the Muslimin to fast from morning up till evening. And the Holy Prophet said, nobody is supposed to open and break their fast unless and until I allow them to. Now the Muslimin, they fasted from morning up till evening. And when the Holy Prophet came after Salat al-Maghrib and he was sitting in the mosque, everybody came one by one and they asked the Holy Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, we fasted as you ordered and as you directed. Now can we open and break our fast? So the Holy Prophet used to allow everyone, now you can open your fast. One person came to the Holy Prophet and said, Ya Rasulullah, I fasted as you directed. Can I open my fast? Rasulullah said, okay, you can open your fast. And then he said, I have two daughters. Those two daughters also were fasting as you have ordered. Can they also open their fast? So the Holy Prophet turned his face the other way around. Now this guy waited, and again he asked the Holy Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, can my daughters break their fast? The Holy Prophet again ignored him. The third time when he asked the Holy Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, can my daughters open their fast? They have been fasting as you directed. The Holy Prophet said, how can they be fasting while they have been consuming the flesh of mu'mineen throughout their day? How can they be fasting while they have been consuming? The person, the father was surprised and he said, Ya Rasulullah, they were fasting, they weren't eating anything. Rasulullah said, no, they were eating the flesh of their brothers, the mu'mineen, their sisters. Go home and ask your daughters to vomit. And he runs and rushes back to his home and asks his daughters to vomit. And when they vomited, pieces of flesh came out of their mouth. And he was surprised, came back to Rasulullah and said, whatever had happened, Rasulullah said, if they would not have vomited and these pieces of flesh did not come out of their bellies, the hellfire would have consumed them. This is what the Holy Prophet is trying to tell, that you need to have this basira. You need to look at things in their original state. If you knew that you are consuming the flesh of your sister or your brother, you wouldn't dare to do ghibah. You wouldn't dare to look in that direction. If you were to understand what basira is, what certainty is, what lies behind the veils which are covering our eyes and our sight. This is what the Holy Prophet says. And then again, Quran says regarding ghiba, I have quoted this ayah multiple times now and I'm quoting it again. This is Quran. We can quote ayats as many times as we want to. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to understand and to act upon these ayats. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, chapter Al-Hujarat, verse number 12. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O faithful people, ijtanibu kathiran min adh-dhanni فَإِنَّ بَعْضَ الظَّنِّ إِثْمٌ. Refrain, O people of faith, refrain from much suspicion. Refrain from suspicion. Refrain from suspicion. Don't suspect your friends, your brothers in faith, your sisters in faith. Indeed, some of these suspicions are sins. وَلَا تَجَسَّسُوا وَلَا يَغْتَبْ. And don't do spying. Don't spy on others. Don't try to spy on others. وَلَا تَجَسَّسُوا. Don't do this. وَلَا يَغْتَبْ بَعْضُكُمْ بَعْضًا. And should not backbite. Should not backbite each and other. أَيُحِبُّ أَحَدُكُمْ أَنْ يَأْكُلَ لَحْمَ أَخِيهِ مَيْتًا فَكَرِهْتُمُوهُ. Would you like to consume the flesh of the dead body of your brother? فَكَرِهْتُمُوهُ. You will be disgusted. You wouldn't like it. Then why do you like to do backbiting? Then why do you do? Because why? This is where I want to point. Why do you like to do backbiting and you will be disgusted if the flesh of the dead body, the corpse of your brother is being presented to you? You will be disgusted to eat that. But you will enjoy doing backbiting. Why? Because we don't have that level of basira. Those veils are still in front of us, covering our eyes. We have not attained those levels of Iman and those levels of certainty that Imam Ali ﷺ advises us, that this is how a God-fearing person remains in his life. Then again, I remember one of these reports, two of the most famous companions of the Holy Prophet, they were hungry and they asked Salman ﷺ, "Oh Salman, go and ask the Holy Prophet to give us some food." So Salman ﷺ went to the Holy Prophet and asked the Holy Prophet, "Ya Rasulullah, your companions, two of them, they are very hungry, they need food." So the Holy Prophet directed Salman ﷺ to Osama bin Zayd. Osama bin Zayd was the accountant of the Holy Prophet. He was the one who used to distribute food and stuff. So Salman went to Osama and asked Osama, "Osama, do you have something to eat? Those two companions are hungry." Osama said, "No, I don't have anything to offer." And then Salman comes back and tells these two people that Osama did not have anything. So they started backbiting Osama bin Zayd and even Salman, and they said that Osama is a stingy person. We cannot get anything out of Osama, and Salman also is a very unlucky guy. We made a mistake asking Salman to go, because Salman is someone so unlucky that even if he passes by a well which is filled and full of water, that well will also become dry. He's so unlucky for us. So this is how they started backbiting. And after when the day finished, at the end of the day, they went to the Holy Prophet. After they were hungry, they went to the Holy Prophet. The Holy Prophet said, I see on your faces that you have consumed a lot of flesh today. You have eaten meat. They said, "No, Ya Rasulullah, we haven't eaten anything. We were, hungry throughout the day, and even we sent Salman to you and to us for some food." So the Holy Prophet says, "No, but I see on your faces there are marks and there are signs that you have consumed flesh, and there are signs." They said, "No, Ya Rasulullah, we did not consume flesh. How can we consume flesh? How can we eat meat while we did not have anything?" The Rasul said, "No, you have not consumed the meat of an animal, but you have consumed meat of Salman and Osama." He said, "Ya Rasulullah, why? How come?" He said, "You were backbiting Osama, you were backbiting Salman." And this is what Rasulullah says, that this is basira. This is what we need to understand, that this is haqiqah behind every action that we do. And Imam Ali ﷺ tells us that a God-fearing person, a muttaqi person, since he has a level of certainty, he also has a level of basira. And while he sees the haqa'iq, truth behind things, he never dares to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to understand the truth that lies behind everything. إن أحسن الحديث وأبلغ الموعظة كتاب الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. صدق الله العلي العظيم. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا وشفيع المذنبين أبي القاسم مصطفى محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين لا سيما حجة بن الحسن المهدي عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. We were discussing about the qualities of God-fearing people, which Imam Ali والسلام, in his sermon mentions and encourages us and tells us that how we can also achieve these levels of perfection and certainty, subsequently giving us the levels of Baseerat, the capability to look at things in their original form. And this is what is the whole aim of these sermons, these gatherings, that we sometimes need to look into our lives and understand that where are we going, what are we doing, what are our actions, are they actually according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has directed us or not. Again, one of the verses where this concept is being encouraged is in chapter Qaf, verse number 22, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَقَدْ كُنْتَ فِي غَفْلَةٍ مِّنْ هَذَا. You were in ignorance. You did not know about this day, the day of Qiyamah, the day of judgment. فَكَشَفْنَا عَنْكَ غِطَاءَكَ. And on that day, we are removing the veils from your eyes. And once we remove the veils from your eyes, فَبَصَرُكَ الْيَوْمَ حَدِيدٌ. This is when your vision is going to become sharp and strong. This is the day, that day of Qiyamah, when I will remove the veils from your eyes, you will understand. فَالْيَوْمَ بَصَرُكَ حَدِيدٌ. Today you will understand the truth behind things. Today you are going to understand the realities behind your actions. You thought you are joking around in this life. No, everything was being recorded, and today you will be held accountable. Today you will be questioned. Today you are answerable to what have you done. Now you were enjoying your life. You thought you were having a jolly time, but no, things were serious. That day is the day that you are going to. There is a hadith which is, now we don't have time to go into that hadith. There is a hadith known as Qurbun Nawafil, which also encourages and tells us this concept that how a person can have this basar al-hadid, how can a person have this perception, this insight, this strong and sharp vision, that he can look things in their original form. People, I don't want to mention names now, but one very famous name is Ayatollah Bahjat rahmatullah alayh. It was famous for him that he used to have this Chashm al-Barzakh, Ayn al-Barzakh. He used to see things in their original form. If a person would have done ghibat, he could see person in animal form. You know, people who do wrong things, who perform sins, they get that formation. They get that form in their essence of barzakh, in their originality. Now, this is what this ayah also tells us. And remember, I have mentioned those riwayat in my previous sermons, where this narration says, غُضُّوا أَبْصَارَكُمْ. Lower your gaze, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to show you the wonders of this nature. What do you mean by lower your gaze? Don't look at what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forbidden. Don't speak what is unlawful. Don't listen to what is not required to listen. Don't do something which is sinful. When you start doing, there is no big rocket science. It's not something very sophisticated to understand. It is very simple. You obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, refrain from anything which is haram. Don't leave out anything which is wajib, and then you are going to get this basaruka yawma hadidun. You are going to get this basira. Now, there was a person, one day the Holy Prophet saw after his Fajr prayer in the mosque, a young person. You don't have to be old. You don't have to be, with your white beard. You don't have to be in your 50s or 60s to understand these concepts. You can be someone young to understand. It's your heart. That the softer your heart is, the more enlightenment it can achieve and get and receive. Your receiver should be fine. Otherwise, it does not concern your age. You might be in your early ages, but you can understand these concepts. This was a young person, a young boy. After the Fajr prayer, the Holy Prophet turned back. This was the Holy Prophet's attitude. Usually, he used to turn back, talk to the people, the mu'mineen, the musalliyin. The Holy Prophet turned back and saw a young guy sitting there, very pale complexion, very tired looking, half asleep. And the riwayat says his head used to, fall sometimes on his right out of the sleep and sometimes on his left. He was trying to stay focused and tried to stay alert, but he was very tired. So the Holy Prophet asked this young guy, كَيْفَ أَصْبَحْتَ يَا فُلَانًا? How did you, rise up today in this morning, oh young man? How was your morning? How did you wake up this morning? So this young man replies, Asbahtu ya Rasulullah muqina. Subhanallah. There might be a day when our Imam would ask us that how was your day today? Inshallah, we also might reply in the same manner, Ya Imam, today I woke up in the state of yaqeen. This young man replies, Ya Rasulullah, I woke up today in the state of yaqeen. Asbahtu muqina. I woke up in the state of yaqeen. So the Holy Prophet was amazed and he asked, Inna li kulli yaqeenin haqiqatan fama haqiqatu yaqinak. Every yaqeen, every certainty has a truth behind. What is the truth behind your certainty? Tell me, what is the truth behind your certainty? What do you mean by, asbahtu muqina? I woke up, I rose in the state of yaqeen. What is the state of your yaqeen? What do you mean? What is the truth behind? So this young man replies, Ya Rasulullah, my certainty has brought me to a level of grief. I don't feel happy anymore. I don't feel happy anymore. I'm in a state of grief. Ya Rasulullah, this level of yaqeen has taken away the sleep from my eyes. I stay awake. I cannot sleep. Ya Rasulullah, it has compelled me to fast throughout these hot summer days. I cannot stay without fasting. Ya Rasulullah, I have distanced myself from all the world and everything in it. There is no attachment to these worldly affairs. I feel detached. I don't want to attach myself with these worldly affairs. This is my certainty. And this is the haqiqah behind my certainty, behind my yaqeen. And this is the Baseerat that I have gained. And then the Holy Prophet asked to explain more so that the people may understand something who are listening. This young fellow, young, very young, he says, كأني يا رسول الله كأني أنظر إلى عرش ربي. It is as if I am looking at the throne of my Lord and the day of judgment is in front of me. وقد نصب للحساب وحشر الخلائق لذلك وأنا فيهم. And every creature is being gathered for his hisab and kitab. Every creature is being gathered for the judgment day, and I am also amongst them, Ya Rasulullah. كأني أنظر إلى أهل الجنة يتعنمون في الجنة ويتعارفون على الأرائك. Ya Rasulullah, I see people as if they are sitting in heaven, they are recognizing each other. Oh, you were there in that life, you were there in that worldly life. I know you from that city, I know you from that mosque, I know you from that Imam Barga. Yeah, they are introducing themselves. I'm looking at them. This is Baseerat. This is something that ordinary people cannot see, people cannot achieve. This young man says, this is the level of my certainty. This is the haqiqah, and this is the truth behind my certainty. And they are resting on their couches. It is as if I can see the people in hell being tormented, and they are shouting in pain. And it is as if I can see and I can hear the roar of hellfire, Ya Rasulullah. And it echoes in my ears up till now. And this echo of the hellfire doesn't let me sleep. It gives me grief. And I cannot stay awake. I cannot sleep. I have to stay awake. So the Holy Prophet says, هَذَا عَبْدٌ نَوَّرَ اللَّهُ قَلْبَهُ بِالْإِيمَانِ. This is a servant whose heart has been illuminated with the light of faith. This is the person that I like. This is the mu'min that Imam Ali and the Holy Prophet talks about. And this is the follower that the Holy Prophet is looking for. And this is the level that we need to achieve. And this is the whole concept of these sermons and these gatherings, that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us some type of certainty that gives us basira, and we look into this. Then this young guy, then the Holy Prophet says, oh young person, you remain in this state. Always remain in this state. Try to remain. Sometimes, this is very important. This is very important. Now, sometimes in our lives, there is no time, but I will just mention this very quickly. Sometimes in our lives, you must have felt, and you should have felt, I'm sure you must have felt, that there is a spark in your life, a spark of spirituality. I don't want to go into something else, meditation and everything. There is a spark in your life while you are praying, or while you are, helping someone, or while you are fasting. You're sitting alone, and there's this spark. Is so beautiful, is so, satisfying spiritually, that you feel content and you feel that you have, fulfilled your responsibility. And this is the spark of obedience. And this is the spark of satisfaction after when you have fulfilled your duties. Rasulullah says this has to remain in your life. It comes and it goes. It comes and it goes within a second. You will feel it and then you will not feel it. Sometimes you will try to feel it again, but you won't feel it. Yeah, it's difficult to make yourself feel it again, but you have to again practice. You will have to. Some people attain this hal. This is known as hal. A very small fraction, a simple, a fraction of a second. You feel this and it goes away. You have to control it and you have to keep it in your life. This is what Holy Prophet says, that you have to stay in this state, remain in this. Try to remain in this state. This is what is important, not to try to. Sometimes we do something good, but then we forget it. We have to remain in that state. And then this young person asks the Holy Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, please pray for me that I may achieve martyrdom besides you. So the Holy Prophet prays for him, and the report says, Imam says that he participated in one of the battles, and he was martyred in one of the battles alongside Rasulullah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us these levels of certainty, and may we achieve this basira which Imam Ali ﷺ encouraged us towards. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا وشفيع المذنبين أبي القاسم مصطفى محمد. وصلي على أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب. وصلي على فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. وصلي على الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. وعلي بن الحسين. الله. ومحمد بن علي. وجعفر بن محمد. وموسى بن جعفر. وعلي بن موسى. اللهم صل على محمد ومحمد بن علي. اللهم صل على محمد وعلي بن محمد. اللهم صل على محمد والحسن بن علي. اللهم صل على والحجة بن الحسن القائم المنتظر المهدي عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. اللهم صل على اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. تابع بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات إنك مجيب الدعوات إنك على كل شيء قدير. إن أحسن الحديث وأبلغ الموعظة كتاب الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. صدق الله العلي العظيم.